Not sure for how long I'm gonna stay here today. So, but I think I'm not gonna put a timer. Just gonna study. I think I'm gonna study the React project that I have. Just put the debugging keyword. One idea that I had today is to just comment out some of these functions here, and then see if it's gonna solve the issue. And that would be one way to see if the problem that I'm having is because of the custom React reconciler or not. But I'm not really sure if I'm gonna do that. I think I'm just gonna try to put the debugging keyword at some point here, and then use the developer tools to see if I can step through the code to try to understand more how it works, and also study the source code of React. I don't feel like doing this right now because I spend a lot of time studying this stuff already. So I'm kind of tired of looking at the same thing. But yeah. So like I'm gonna try to like not make it so much about solving the problem. So that way like it takes the pressure off and I can spend more time studying. Now that Nights and Weekends is over, I think I have more time to just focus on this problem, and I think I have to spend a bunch of time trying to understand this, and yeah, before I even do focus on anything else. I managed to work with the Matter.js library loading locally, but it is not working with the events, which makes me think that the reason why the events are not working is not because of the stop propagation, because I download the library locally and I put the stop propagation function inside of the events and it doesn't work. So it's probably because the events being triggered on the canvas instead of being triggered on the actual target inside of the canvas. So it triggers the event on the canvas before, and because they have the same event, it prevents the thing from working. So I think one alternative, which I think I'm gonna test now, is to see if I remove the drag events listener, if it's gonna go back to working when you drag the nodes. So I think if that works, then it would be an alternative, which I just leave the zoom event to the pixie view part, and the rest I do it with or I can set up another event to drag. Instead of using the event from pixie viewport, I can use the wheel of the mouse, like when you click with the wheel to drag. And then the other alternative, but I think I have to make it work. With this, so I have to think about or study how to make it work, or how people usually do this kind of stuff. But this is another mountain to climb after I solve the stuff that I have to solve now. So I think I'm gonna leave this. I'm gonna only worry about this stuff once I have the thing that I'm focusing now cleared. So I forgot that I changed the way that I did here to see if it would work. I'm passing here. So first, yeah, I have to go here. So this is, I don't understand why this is happening, is when I use the functional component that I created, it says that the context is fucked up, that I have to use app provider, but I am using a provider there, so I don't understand. But maybe this gives me clues on why the problem exists in the first place. Because here I thought about, instead of using the custom React reconciler, let me just use that provider directly here, and then I render the children here and see if that works. But then I have a problem with the context, even though I am using that provider. So it might be because of the level here. As that's easy to test, so I'm gonna test this now. But I think that's not the problem. It's probably something else. and then I comment it out in this inside of these functions, the custom reconciler. The core of the issue, also there is this other issue here that I just comment it out. It says that it is no, even though I'm changing the state here, so it should work. I don't understand why this is happening as well, but I think at the core of the issue of what's happening here is the way that React handles context. I think that's the main problem. The way that it updates the components. Yeah, comment it out. And then on the return statement as well. It still doesn't work. No context found with Pixie application. So the problem is that it doesn't get the app from the use app hook on the other components. But I don't understand why if I'm providing there. But it might be because I'm initializing the app as no on this one. So again, the issue with the... But if that was the problem, then it should at least be no. So I'm not really sure if it would give this mistake or another one. I'm gonna put music for myself. Before I do that, I think I'm gonna do the Italian thing. Because it has been a long time since I haven't done this. I'm not really sure if it's worth doing or not. It's not hard to do, so I guess why not do it?
Fa,
Fa,
does,
fisso,
fisso,
set, unchanging,
3,
3,
3,
desiderare,
desiderare,
desire,
aria,
aria,
air,
bene,
bene,
well,
anche,
anche,
also,
giocare,
giocare,
play,
piccolo,
piccolo,
small,
fine,
fine,
end,
mettere,
mettere,
put,
casa,
casa,
home,
leggere,
leggere,
read,
mano,
mano,
hand,
portare,
portare,
carry,
grande,
grande,
large,
compitare,
compitare,
spell, words,
aggiungere,
aggiungere,
add,
anche,
anche,
even, also,
terra,
terra,
land,
qui,
qui,
here,
devo,
devo,
I must,
grande,
grande,
big,
alto,
alto,
high, tall,
tale,
tale,
Such.
Seguire.
Seguire.
Follow.
Atto.
Atto.
An act.
Perché.
Perché.
Why.
Chiedere.
Chiedere.
Ask.
Maschi.
Maschi.
Men.
Cambiamento.
Cambiamento.
A change.
È andato.
Gli è andato.
He, she went.
Luce.
Luce.
Light.
Tipo.
Tipo.
Kind. Of thing.
Spento.
Spento.
Turned off.
Bisogno.
Bisogno.
Need.
Casa.
Casa.
House.
Immagine.
Immagine.
Image.
Provare.
Provare.
Try.
Noi.
Noi.
Us.
Di nuovo.
Di nuovo.
Again.
Animale.
Animale.
Animal.
Punto.
Punto.
Point.
Madre.
Madre.
Mother.
Mondo.
Mondo.
World.
Vicino.
Vicino.
Near.
Costruire.
Costruire.
Build.
Se stesso.
Se stesso.
Himself.
Terra.
Terra.
Earth.
Padre.
Padre.
Father.
They changed the voice on this API here. Now is lower, but I think I'm gonna leave it like this. Put some music. think I tried this, but it didn't work. But I'm gonna try again. See if this is the problem. The custom components. Maybe I have to make app state. But the issue is that I think I can't really make this state based on a class. That's the problem. And if I initialize the app here, I think it's not gonna work to pass as a value there on the context. Hmm. So I think I'm just gonna try to spend time understanding how the context works. Maybe I should create or go to the other project that I created, try to incorporate context there, and then because it's gonna be a lot more simple than trying to go over the debugger with this one. Well, obviously the problem is that the context is not working for some reason. Hmm, interesting. Even though I removed the event, it still doesn't work. Even though it's console logging on Matter.js that the event's being triggered. So and the challenge with this is that it's gonna be very annoying to because it's very complicated, the classes in Pixie viewports, the way that it works there. It's gonna be a pain in the ass, I think. And the way this is done is, I think, is just for class components. This is old props and new props, because now, from as far as I understand, React does that for you. But maybe it's because it's using the custom reconciler. So these apply props. I think these events from the custom component is just for the version of React that uses classes. Obviously, still classes still work, but you know what I mean. So, what should I do? It's. I think I have to see the video from Jaser, I think is the name. Yeah. To see how he does it. I think that's 'cause the way that he does it is not through the developer tools. It's just putting this keyword debugger, but it's probably downloading a library or something like that. I also have to change the title and the description of the website. I'll do that in the future. Okay. Maybe I should be, or yeah, I should be on JSX. I put like this, is not gonna work. Yeah, there we go. So I have to learn how to use this thing because I think I used this maybe twice, but I never felt the need to use it. Just debug with console logs. But I think to study is probably very good. I just have to spend some time learning how to use it. So I think I can do a combination of looking at these calls here and then looking at the source code. I'm trying to improve this graph here that I'm doing. Or this flowchart, whatever you want to call this. Actually, I think it's probably a good idea to just use the other project that I have because then I can put the debugger inside of the render. It looks like here it's already after the initial render that this is happening because I haven't seen this function, I think. Sorry, as I couldn't remember. Maybe something similar. I definitely saw something similar. I was looking at the source code, but not this one specifically. I think using this is gonna make it easier to just see what's going on. So the other question that I have is whether or not is worth to spend time trying to make the functional component work. I think that if I manage to do it with the functional component, is better than using the class component. But it might be easier to solve the problem using the class component because of the reconciler thing. Like I'm gonna have to figure out how the reconciler works with a functional component. I think I have to. Yeah, I'm not sure if it fucks up the string. Let me see. Gonna see if the VPN messed up the string or the video. It looks like it didn't. I think what I'm gonna do is just go with the other thing that I built there. But I have to figure out how to do the routing because I forgot. So just with React because I've been using Next.js now. Not this one. Let me let me think about it. I think just step over is this one. And step into step out. The good thing about this is that here it shows what each thing is, which is very helpful. think before I go and do the other project, I'm gonna put this somewhere else that is related to the rendering thing. Maybe inside of here. Oh, I forgot that I have to remove from here now. But this is also interesting. So I think the other thing that I have to do is maybe study the Webpack, how Webpack works, because I think that's one of the missing components. The reason why it's kind of hard to me for me to understand is because there is some like there's a lot of invisible things, and I think mostly because of Webpack, in the way that React is gonna render, because React is gonna interact with Webpack to because I think Webpack creates the loop. I think the engine creates the event loop, and the event loop is the thing that's uh, is responsible for rendering everything. So there's a lot of stuff that becomes invisible if you're just looking at the source code of React, because it's interacting with Webpack and the browser engine to make the stuff happen. So it's also hard to understand where at what point. Like I think Next.js is just like a bunch of configurations for Webpack. That's how, but it's hard to know where the line is drawn. What exactly is Next.js? What they're doing? How is related to Webpack and React? That's the other stuff that. Increase the size of this window. This is the stuff that I'm talking about. So like I'm spending some time here and I'm not really sure if it's worth it or not. Like the biggest challenge is figuring out what is the point that I should be investigating. Because the issue is this bridge. There's this gap between the source code of React and the way that it works on the actual application. And the bridge is Next.js and the Webpack or compiler that they use. So that's the stuff that is invisible there. But like it's very hard to know from here, like how do I make it so that I have the breakpoint since the beginning? And I think that's the only way to do that is the with using a React application, because then you can put the debugger right at the points that the DOM is going to render inside of the function, the React DOM render function. So I'm not really sure if I should start, but I think that's the main thing that I want to clarify. Because obviously I'm assuming there when I'm investigating, when I'm creating this flowchart, I'm assuming that the code is starting on the React DOM.render. First, it creates the root, and then after that, it calls the render function, and then passes this stuff to the render function. But there might be a lot of stuff happening under the hood from these compilers or the framework that I can't see. And those are the things that are going to be calling a bunch of functions that are important to understand what's going on when there's an update on how the mounting and unmounting works. Just going over the functions doesn't help. That's the problem. Like I have to know the execution. I can follow here, but then I'm not really sure if that's the correct breakpoints that I put there. And it's the, I believe, hot module reload, the stuff that allows the website to reload every time you save, I think. This function, I'm pretty sure I've seen. Make sure roots is scheduled. Definitely seen here. So I think that, like that, the part that I was looking at is the parts that happens in the beginning, like before it runs React render. And somewhere here. Yeah, this one. I spent a lot of time looking into this one, so I remember. The thing that I'm thinking about now is like whether or not it's worth it to dive deep into the Webpack Next.js thing. Because obviously I want to understand everything, but I'm not sure what's higher importance. It might be one of those things where it's just a waste of time and I'm deviating from the focus. It's like everything in the universe is connected, so the more you go deep into one thing, it becomes everything else because it's connected. So there's always a balance and it's a gradient. So like if I investigate this, then there might be other things, then and soon I'm gonna be on a completely different path. I'm not gonna be able to solve what I'm trying to solve. But at the same time, I feel like it is important to know. Because just by looking at the source code there, I couldn't. It feels there's something missing, and it's annoying me. Like I want to understand how it works. Because I think that maybe they updated, but maybe not. From the videos there from the guy. Because I haven't seen. I think the issue I was having is just finding the connection between the components on React and the way that at what point inside of these functions it changes the or interacts with the states of the components, does anything with the components. That's the part that I was struggling. And how it sets up things in a way that is gonna re-render the application if there's a change in state. That's the stuff that I was struggling to understand. I think in order to understand that, I have to at least spend some time investigating the parts that happened before the React DOM render is called. But it feels like it's kind of a waste of time because I'm not learning anything there. Just by going over the functions, I'm not learning because I don't understand really well like the bigger picture when it comes to that part. Like how does it set up everything? Like I understand that it creates a WebSocket connection to when you're in development, so you can see the website on localhost. But I don't understand like on the overall picture how should everything be connected. I guess it has to parse the code first, then it creates the WebSocket. It's kind of, but it doesn't feel like I'm learning there. That's the thing. So how can I have to think about a good approach. What is like the best thing to do to understand how it works? I think I need to do a combination of looking into here. Maybe I should just open the more simple one that I have there. Or I should put other breakpoints. But I think I should do a combination of putting the breakpoints, investigating with the debugger, and then going back to these functions here and writing the stuff that I find. The thing is, if I go to the other project, it's not going to tell me anything about the Next.js because it might be different. I feel like it should be the same though, or very similar, at least the rendering part, even though the way that each sets up everything is different because Next.js is gonna be on the server side first. But I'm not sure if I if I go on the other project to put the debuggers, if it's gonna like be different the first time that the React DOM render is called. Maybe I should just. Yeah, the thing is gonna be very hard to find as well, like videos talking about this. And probably ChatGPT is not gonna be very good. And I could go here and study this, see these files here, just try to understand. And the question is it a waste of time or? The issue is if it's everything after being compiled, because then it's gonna be too much time to understand. Yeah, I think somewhere inside of here there are. Maybe not. Not sure if they make it like this so that uh, it's hard to understand what they are doing, but I don't think so. Maybe ChatGPT is good for clarifying the beginning. I think the way that it works is first it compiles or transpiles using Babel or the SWC there, the WebAssembly thing. Then after it does that, then it runs Webpack to set up the WebSockets and the routing, and then it runs the render. Yeah, but I think looking at the source code is probably not the best. It's just gonna spend a bunch of time and not gonna learn much. And maybe Webpack. Maybe I need to study Webpack more. There probably several different videos explaining. And I know that the website, I think, has some resources. I think I might stop here and just study this stuff off stream. Just watch these videos. Like watch the videos, and then after I watch the videos, I'll go back and study the source code. But the thing is, like, I'm not sure if it's a waste of time or not. Because the main focus is to understand. Because the thing is, I'm not even 100% sure if that's the problem there. I'm assuming it is the rendering cycle, because that's the only thing that makes sense to me now. That's because of all of the stuff that I did trying to debug. I think that the parent is being mounted first for some reason. And this is the other weird thing that I'm trying to... When I try to use the function components, it also doesn't work. Just very weird. So I don't understand why it doesn't get the context here if I'm not using the custom reconciler. So it might be because I'm setting up the value in the wrong way. So I should use state. I guess I can try to put another variable and then... But I think that's probably not the case. Maybe I'm wrong. I think this is not the problem. Something else that I don't understand. It's probably something to do with the canvas. Maybe it's the function here. Could be the stuff here that I just copied, because on the class components you're just adding this stuff through the class, and here I'm doing this, so I'm not really sure if it's gonna work. Because the way that it handles props is different. I have to disable the breakpoint. Oh, I'm not using the function components as well. You should change that. Yeah, it's still no context, so it's not the value. Because the value, you would just give another mistake because it would just be no. So but it's weird that, like, why is not getting the context there? Maybe if I use, like, I think it has to do with the context and the way the canvas works. It has to be that. I guess I can try to put the children outside of the canvas, see if it's gonna work. And maybe that's the reason why they use a custom reconciler. Because then if it works here, it's not gonna work. Because these components are... Oh, it might be... Yeah, I think that's the issue. That's the issue, actually, is because I'm using React PXE components. That's the problem. I just realized, no. Yeah, obviously. Because I was... The whole time I was assuming that I'm using normal components. And the problem is I'm using the React Pixie component so that they expect a custom reconciler. That's the problem. So I can't really test. And the other thing that I can do is just comment out the functions here and then see if it's gonna work. What would be the easiest way to test? That's the thing. I want to test this like without using a custom reconciler to see if it works. But I want the easiest way possible to test. Because I'm not sure if that's the problem or not. I think it is because it's the only thing that makes sense. Because it wouldn't make sense for React to unmount or update the parent, the context provider before it updates the context consumers. Because obviously the consumers rely on the providers. So like if that was the case, then you would break a bunch of applications. Because every time a value changes, you would unmount the consumer first, the provider first, and then the consumer wouldn't be able to remove event listeners or things like that. So that's the reason why it doesn't make sense. To me, it has to be something to do with the custom React reconciler. But then I can't, it's not so simple to test. That's the problem. And then if I just study the source code there, I think I'm gonna be missing some things because of the stuff that I see then before or after or while it runs the React render. Or maybe I just need to spend a lot more time studying the functions here. But from the stuff that I've seen, like there's nothing that stands out. But maybe it's because this is the thing is because of I don't know really well what exactly is going to be received. But even then, like I couldn't see through the source code any direct connection between, except on the update queue. There's a part that's on the object here. When it's doing this stuff here, the payload of this becomes the element. That's the only point that connects the component with the stuff that is happening on the render across all of these functions. But then I didn't see any other parts. But maybe it's because the thing is that makes me think that it is not because I didn't see the other functions, is because these functions should be more related to after all of the states are already set up, and it's just gonna mount the thing, these functions here. So there's the rendering process, which is the part that is gonna update everything, and then there's the commit, which is the part that hydrates that puts all the changes into effect. So this function shouldn't be related, I think, to updating the effects. And on the other functions, it doesn't seem like, at least looking. But the thing is that I didn't spend a bunch of time. So I think a combination of using the debugger and going back to the source code is gonna help me understand, because then I can see. But I don't know if it is worth it or not to spend a bunch of time looking at these videos and studying Webpack, or just a waste of time. So here, the provider has to be part of the custom React reconciler so that the children have access to the provider. I guess I'm gonna go back to the way that I was doing before. Because the way that I was doing before, it didn't give any errors, but it didn't load the stuff. But I'm not sure if I can go back enough, because I probably did this another day. Yeah. So I think I just remove this stuff from here. Then uncomment everything. And I guess I can put the debugger here as well. The question is it worth it to study the Webpack stuff or not? Or if it's gonna deviate too much. And this is like it works, but then it doesn't show. I didn't see this before. It is just because I'm using the local version of Matter.js now. This is probably something related to the imports. This might be one of the reasons why the events are not working there. And the problem with this one is that doesn't show anything here. Yeah, the engine is undefined. Hmm. Oh, it's probably because the stuff is not working. It's not rendering because of the way that I'm doing the reconciler. Oh, it looks like it exists here. It's weird. Or maybe it's the app. Yeah, I think it's the app, probably. Just the mode that is undefined. No? Yeah, I don't understand the warning though. I should be this. So why I'm getting that error? Yeah, there's so many things to think about. I think I'm just gonna ignore this stuff for now. Yeah, but I can't think about a good way to, a very easy way to test the function components that is not gonna require me to understand the whole thing in the first place. I think the best way is to test with the normal components first, and then trying to figure out. The good thing about testing with the function components, then, like, I'm able to clarify whether or not the issues because there's a difference in the way that React renders a class component and a function component, which I think like maybe it has very small differences, but then those differences are the cause of why it's breaking. But I think I'm not going to be able to find a very easy way to test this, so I'm just going to have to use the debugger and continue to study the source code to try to understand what is going on. And I think I'm going to stop here, and I think I'm just going to watch the videos, the Webpack videos here. I think it's worth, I'm going to study a little bit and then maybe use ChatGPT a little bit, try to clarify how it's connected, like get a bit better picture, even though I think I already understand. It first transpiles everything with Babel and then uses Webpack to create the routes and initialize the WebSocket connection. I think that's what happens. But I want to clarify the exact moment that the React code goes inside of the render, how the information is. Obviously, I'm trying to find the link between the components and the way that they're going to be updated in the render. That's the main thing that I'm trying to focus on. And I think studying Webpack's probably going to help a little bit, but I also have to spend some time thinking about what is like the best path to take from here. If I should use the other project that I created that is very simple to put the debugger, or use the debugger on this one. Maybe try to find another way to use the function components. But I don't want to do this on stream now. I think probably next time I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to continue to study off stream and stuff until I solve it. So yeah, see you next